Reza turned the page and continued to read. Charred carcasses were found inside the ruins of the theater building. We smelled the smoke while we were watching the movie, one of the survivors of the fire told our reporter in the hospital. People started talking to each other, wondering where the smoke was coming from. A few individuals rushed to the exit doors, but they were closed from outside. People swarmed toward the doors, yelling, screaming, and pushing each other to escape. We were locked in. Someone wanted to burn us alive. The theater building collapsed into ashes. Half-burned doors had scratches over them from unfortunate victims pleading for their lives. La ilaha illallah. Who could have done this to the people? Arajun said, tapping his forehead. His smooth, shiny skin extended from his bushy eyebrows all the way to the back of his scalp, where he'd pinned the kufi to his sparse gray hair. He wore that white kufi, the small round cotton hat some Muslim men wear, after his Hajj pilgrimage. This tyrannical dynasty would do whatever it can to halt the people's revolution, bloody murderers, Reza said. He folded the newspaper and threw it at the center of the rug. Baba listened to the news while he whirled the spoon in his estakon of tea. He had been staring at Reza with his steely eyes while he read. The hair above his ears was growing gray, but the rest of the short, kinky coils were still black. He shaved with double blades, his face always sleek and smooth. It's too soon to say who has done this crime, Baba said. I've heard many were killed in the stampede beside the doors. Who orchestrated such an atrocious crime? Arajun said. It might be the ones who want to make the whole situation muddy. Fadais, Marxists, Mujahideen, or Hezb-e Tudeh. No one knows, Baba said. No one belonging to the uprising would commit such a heinous crime. The revolution is already winning. We are winning. The Shah is living his last days, Reza said, directing his talk to Baba. Baba bit his lips in silence and didn't reply. He scratched the scar he had under his left ear, a nervous habit of his when he found himself disagreeing. The smooth, pale scar was a mark he carried from a skin infection he contracted during the years he'd lived in army barracks close to the Iran-Iraq border. Years of service in the army as a high-ranking officer had forged in him a devout belief in Mohammad Reza Shah's military power. I stood up on the divan and leaned forward on the carpet to see the newspaper up close. I gaped at the picture of a charred woman that occupied the front page. She had nail polish on the fingers that remained of her burned hand. She must have broken her nails as she desperately scratched and pushed the exit door. No one at that moment paid attention to me. My heart pounded as I pictured her banging, shouting, pleading for help as the blazing fire consumed her body. As the conversation dwindled among the family, Azra emptied the water that had dribbled in the bowl underneath the globe-shaped samovar and blew the blue flame inside its chimney through the gridded opening. White smoke funneled up the samovar's chimney and vanished in the air. Maman helped Azra take the samovar and the tea set back to the kitchen. Layla and Sabah brought mattresses and pillows from the guest bedroom, unfolded the mattresses on the divans, and covered them with white, starched sheets. Reza erected the mosquito nets on the divans and made sure all the hems of the canopies were tucked under the mattresses. Marmar and I slept on the middle divan, next to Arajun and Azra's mattress. The ivory canopy swayed with the cool night breeze, and its lacy knitted flowers quivered with the gentle wind. We placed our heads on down pillows, tucked our small bodies under a thin blanket, and waited impatiently for Arajun to come back. He'd gone to his room to bring the gift. What was he going to give us from his deep, shadowy closet? A talking doll he'd bought in Mecca during his pilgrimage? A sewing machine that worked without a handwheel? A world map that would speak and give information if we touched a country? The night seemed too long for the anxious little girls who had been waiting since early morning. I watched the stars shining in the clear night sky of Tehran, hoping the serenity of the night would calm me. Even though I tried to think about Arajun's gift, I couldn't wipe